Did you say before we start, did I miss it? Because I have my calendar open, but did you say that our final would be on Wednesday?
Yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use Wednesday class period, at least the first part, to finish up um, the illness feeding. So we'll either be using the second half of the class to do your final, or I will schedule it during the day and give you, like I have been giving. Open it Wednesday morning, close it Thursday morning, something like that.
Okay, sorry. I guess I just didn't write that down.
Okay. So let's talk about pet food labels. I'm sad to say that you guys are going to get very angry. You're going to get mad. You're going to want to have some sort of petition. I'm going to need some Advil when this is done. You know what? I got to get a Diet Coke preemptively because I'm already getting upset. I haven't even started yet.
What, baby?
Ooh, Miss Huff is a cripple today. The significant other and I refurbished and refinished all of his kitchen, sanded and painted kitchen cabinets, emptied, reloaded, painted the kitchen. It was in 4 days. We did that in 4 days. So I am paying for it. I can barely move right now. Oh, it's fun being old. All right. So let me get my do. Except it did not come up. Hang on. There's that. That. There we go. Oh, don't like that. This I'm used to having up here. Hang on, I'm trying to get my screen back to where I like it. Yeah, Haley, so it is both fun and awful being old. It's awful because your brain wants to do stuff that you did when you were in your 20s, and your body's just like, ha, you're adorable. But it is fun because I got way better toys now. So, you know, age giveth and age taketh away. So let's discuss pet food labels. So basically, we are looking at two government agencies, and as government agencies go, they're both pretty useless. Hence, most government agencies. We have the FDA, and I think we discussed this a little bit last week. I gave you kind of a little tickle. The FDA is a federal regulatory agency. It stands for the Food and Drug Administration. And basically what they do is they put forth a bare minimum. They're the ones that say, if you are going to make a pet food, this is the bare minimum of what you need to put into this food to call it complete and balanced. Okay, we know cats, for example, have different nutritional needs. So I need to make sure that the food supports that we have the taurine, we have the arginine, we have the vitamin, animal-based vitamin A, because they cannot synthesize the plant precursor. We've got the arachidonic acid. We have to have all of that in order to call it complete and balanced for our feline. And it's the FDA that says, this is what you have to add and this is what you can't. Like things like we are not supposed to be able to add diseased animal product or euthanized animals because they still contain euthanasia. If they were injected, euthanized, not supposed to be able to use them. So they basically set this federal even playing ground. Then they hand it off to the state. And the state regulatory agency is AAFCO, which is the Association of American Feed Control Officials. And so basically what AAFCO says is, okay, for the state of Texas, and every state has their own AAFCO. Now, AAFCO does have to abide by the minimum set by FDA. But what AAFCO can decide is that, okay, for here in Texas, here in the great state of Texas, we are going to mandate that if you want to manufacture food here in Texas, you're going to need to have, instead of this standard, we want you to raise it up a little bit. We want you to have this standard of ingredient. And so here at Huff and Puff, we're like, okay, so that's going to cha-ching, cost me some dough, some of the Benjamins. So I'm going to start looking elsewhere. So Louisiana's going to say, you know what? We don't care. We don't care. And I'm not even trying to do, because I did the Louisiana accent last weekend and I didn't do it well. So I'm not trying it again because I really don't want to offend anyone from Louisiana. You know the accent. But Louisiana says, no, we don't care. Come on in. Have a hurricane. Travel down Bourbon Street. This is great. Get some beads. This is like the Wild West over here. And so Huff and Puff can either have the choice of manufacturing in Texas where the standards have set higher, or we have the choice to move our product to manufacture in Louisiana where they're following the basic FDA guidelines. So even though Texas has the higher standard, that doesn't mean I can't sell my food here. It doesn't mean that my food has to meet that higher standard to be sold in Texas. It just means my food has to meet that standard to be manufactured in Texas. That's kind of the loophole that we see. This is also why we see some pet food corporations setting up shop in the states that we do. We have a lot of pet food corporations in the Midwest because they have these minimal AAFCO standards. Just because I don't meet the AAFCO standard, as long as I meet the FDA standard, I can still sell it nationally. Now, here's a fun fact, is that the national standard, and this really is me getting on a little bit of a, hey, Canada's better than America. And right now, guess what? I am correct in that. I'm kidding. I know some of you are like, if you like Canada so much, I go there. Well, I would, but my passport expired. So, although I can get into Canada, I just can't get out. So I can go there. I just can't come back because I don't have my passport. Don't have my passport. So I should probably get that renewed sometime soon because you never know what's happening in the future. Anyway, the Canadian standards are a little bit different. They don't have this see, we don't have states, by the way, guys, just to give you a little Canadian education. We don't have states, we have provinces. And we don't have a president, we have a prime minister. And so each province does not have, like here, each state can follow AAFCO or set their own AAFCO standards. Nationally, the Canadian equivalent of the FDA sets a national standard, and everybody has to meet that standard. And that standard is, in fact, greater than the minimum standard set by FDA, which is why Canada has no problem importing the pet food to America, because it already exceeds the standard. The same cannot be said for all pet food companies. Now, yes, your big companies, your Purinas, your Hill Science Diet, your Royal Canins, your Iams, Eukanuba, all of your nationally generally known, obviously, have exceeded, and they have now set their standard to Canadian standards. But that's why we don't see a lot of the same brands in Canada that we do here in America, because the standards are lower. And what Canada has stated is if you don't meet our national standards, you can't even sell your food here. So kind of that's why and the reason I'm telling you this is not to rub your face in it that Canada's amazing, but it is. It just is. We also don't have governors, we have premiers, which sounds so much fancier. Anyway, there's your little government lesson for Canada right now. So that's why we don't see the same, at least the same American diversity of pet foods, because Canada has set the standard and you have to meet that elevated standard in order to even import and sell your food in the market in Canada. So that's kind of an overview of these two government agencies. The other thing is, so AAFCO is the one that says, okay, you have to be able to document that you have in fact done what we've asked you to do. Okay, so there's one of two ways that they can do this here at Huff and Puff Awesome Dog Food Corporation. We have one of two ways. AAFCO has a book, and this AAFCO book contains, here's my AAFCO book. This AAFCO book contains the bare minimum standard that AAFCO has set. So it might meet the bare minimum, the FDA, or it might be if my state has decided to have a little bit of an increase in standard, but this is the book for Texas. And this book states, these are the ingredients, this is the quality of the ingredients, this is the digestibility, the bioavailability, everything to meet the AAFCO standard is in this book. And you must follow these book instructions in order to call your food complete and balanced. Oh no, Jocelyn, okay, well, I'm recording this, and guys, remind me, you know what, I'm putting it on here. I have uploaded all of my lectures to the YouTube. Guys, I'm a YouTube star. I have like 3 followers already. I know.
Slow down, slow down.
I know. I'm about to be, I think I'm about to, what is it, like a YouTube influencer? Is that a thing?
You'll remember us, right? When you knew us when?
No, hard no. No, sorry. Bernadette, you did this to yourself with the whole vegetable apple cherry crap.
I'll make it up next week, I promise.
Ugh. Anyway, yes, Ariel's one of my subscribers. So to you, Ariel, you will not be dead to me when I hit it big with like tens of subscribers. What? I'm getting close to double digits, guys.
Gonna be Hollywood once you make it to 15.
Oh my God, I'm not gonna fit my head in through the door. I know. I'm gonna have to have, you know, here's what I will do for you guys is that when we get back on campus, I will allow you to walk in front of me unrolling a red carpet. And every now and then I'm gonna have this cape and I'm just gonna flick off the cape in a very dramatic fashion, and I'll need one of you to cover me back up. And I may need one of you to make sure that I have a Diet Coke in my hand at all times. So, see, it's the little people.
Do you say little people because I'm short?
Yes, I did. So, yeah, and yes, I will be doing a textbook signing but it will be $3 per autograph, like Comic-Con. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you for indulging my fantasy. YouTube link. So I believe my nutrition channel is public. You should be able to just Google it. But I will go ahead and email you guys a link to my YouTube channel. And so, oh yes, Casey, you know what? I would be willing to barter for autographs and, you know, maybe even photographs. Although now I'm realizing that I shouldn't have made these YouTube videos public, because now you could just screenshot your own photos and sell them on the internet. Oh well.
There's your downfall.
There's my downfall. There's where I lose my $1 million. Oh gosh. All right. So AFCO says, hey, follow our rules and you can call your food complete and balanced. Now this is where we get a little bit of a catch-22. So in order for me to call my food complete and balanced, I have to meet the AFCO standards. But AFCO doesn't check. AFCO doesn't come back and make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. AFCO never tests, does any kind of quality control. And if I decide, I'm like, hey AFCO, I don't want to follow your darned rules. I want to formulate my own food, but I will do testing to prove that this food will nutritionally support this animal for the life stage that I'm stating it will. And AFCO just goes, okay, you're on the honor system. And so the catch-22 is AFCO doesn't check. But AFCO will kind of, again, on the honor system, believe that if I'm calling my food complete and balanced, that it is. They don't have any specific rule. I'm explaining this poorly. Let me get Douglas on the wheel here for a second. Give me a sec. So, AFCO. Nope, that's not how I wanted to start that. Complete and balanced, that's what I want to say. So, if I want to feed a food, if I want to sell a food, it has to be labeled complete and balanced. And the only way to get the label complete and balanced is to either follow the AFCO standards or to follow the AFCO testing standards. So AFCO has said, okay, if you're going to make your own food, you're going to do your own tests, you got to do this minimum testing. Here's the total. Oh, I almost said a naughty word. Leslie. Oh, that's funny right there. So what AFCO does say is the bare minimum standard for testing. And I think we discussed this on Friday, is that their bare minimum testing really is no testing at all. Now, am I saying that pet food corporations they're all doing this bare minimum? Absolutely not. I know we need to get a t-shirt that says, I almost said a naughty word, but I'm proud to say I didn't do it. Although I have a couple times in our serial killer club, which, reminder, I had to postpone it. And so we'll be meeting today at 4:30. I did have a significant other obligation that it was his birthday. And I had to help him finish redoing his kitchen. So.
We'll let it slide.
Thank you.
Or an
Trust me.
autograph.
Yeah. It was his birthday, so I had to go help him refinish his kitchen as a birthday present. So now I got off again. So AFCO. Oh, the testing. So AFCO goes, okay, in order to call your food complete and balanced, and in order to sell your food, it has to be labeled complete and balanced. You can use these testing standards, but the testing standard minimums are a joke. The testing standards say that you have to have at least 8 animals in your group, and you have to feed the food for 28 days, so just a little more than 3 weeks. If the animal does not have irreversible organ failure, organ damage, weight loss, or death in 28 days, you can list your food complete and balanced. That's great. That's why you start seeing these national recalls, because 28 days doesn't tell us what happens after long-term feeding. Okay, you guys are really cracking me up down here. Yeah, so all of you guys, Andy, Rob, Casey, I expect to see you all this afternoon in our club meeting so that we can discuss t-shirt options, because I'm noticing some chitter chat and I'm loving it. I'm loving it, but I want to be involved in it without interrupting my lecture for everybody else. So I'm expecting you all to come and discuss this with me later on, because I'm loving the ideas. I'm just not loving Doug going "Arr!" and coming to a screeching halt every 3 seconds. All right, 28 days is enough time for zombies to come through, not enough time for us to establish if this food is going to have what it takes to be complete and balanced, to provide the animal with what they need to sustain themselves nutritionally. We know, because we've done the last 7 weeks of nutrients, House of Cards, House of Cards. In fact, oh my God. So I am watching this show. I am addicted to this show. And I'm not even sad that I'm addicted to this show. And I need to see you for a second. So, all right. All right, so this is the, I've just taken this directly off of the AFCO website. I just copied and pasted. And I find this just kind of, so even though AFCO defines food, defines what ingredients need to be added, defines what is the definition of those ingredients, defines what does it mean to be complete and balanced, they do not regulate, test, approve, or certify the foods in any way. So this is where I get a little frustrated, because even though AFCO's own website says we don't test, approve, or certify, in order to sell my food, I have to have an AFCO statement. And this statement reads something like, the brand name blah, blah, blah is formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by AFCO pet food nutrient profiles for growth of puppies and maintenance of adult dogs. So this, even though it says that they don't certify it, I do have to have an AFCO statement stating that my pet food does meet their standards. They just don't verify it. Now, it is by the honor system, as I've said. However, if I lie, because remember the one rule through all of the shenanigans that we are just about to talk about, I can't lie. I'm not allowed to lie. That's the one rule. If I'm going to say something, it has to be the truth. And so if I lie and I say that my food has met the AFCO standard and it hasn't, I'm in very big trouble. They could bankrupt my company. So got to take that into consideration. It is the pet food company's responsibility to formulate our food to meet the standard. So let's go ahead and look at what AAFCO defines, some of the definitions, some of these ingredients. So the primary ingredient that AAFCO is going to be regulating is the protein, okay, the animal-based protein, which is known as meat. So what is the definition of meat? And I love these definitions. They make it sound so delicious. It is the clean flesh of slaughtered animals, and it is limited to striated muscle with or without the overlying fat. We can include portions of skin, sinew. Now what sinew is a term for connective tissue like tendons and ligaments. The nerve and blood vessels that would normally accompany the flesh. So that's what meat is. Now meat also has the water still added. So meat does contain a large percentage of water, and we know that water is one of the heaviest components within the body. And so this is one of the things that the pet food companies can use to manipulate the meat in the ingredients list, because meat still has the water added. I can actually just add more and make it heavier and artificially inflate it in the ingredients list. But this is the actual definition of what is meat according to AAFCO. All right, so what is meat meal? In fact, I think I had a couple of questions last week about the difference between meat and meat meal. Meat meal does not have water added. That's the biggest difference. It does not contain the water. So we know now that ingredients are in descending order by weight. So if I have meat in pet food A and I have meat meal in pet food B, even though meat meal may be lower in the ingredients list because it doesn't have the water added, I might actually have more animal-based protein in a food with meat meal versus a food with just meat, because it's by weight. So meat meal, no water, and it is rendered. And what rendering, and I know some companies go, oh, okay, there are no rendered products in this food. Well, rendering is not necessarily a bad thing. Basically what rendering is we take all of the non-human consumables, okay? The cow gets slaughtered. Human cuts go first. Everything that's left over, they separate out into their fats and their, non-consumables, consumables. That's rendering. That's just where we are separating out the non-human consumables. Now, the meat meal, there are some things that we are not allowed to add. We cannot add any additional blood. So we can still have the blood that you would normally find in the tissue, we just can't add any more of it. We can't add any hair, hide, any trimmings, can't add any horns, poop, don't eat poop, can't add poop, we gotta wash the poop off, and we are not allowed to add stomach or stomach contents. During the rendering process, because these are non-human consumables, we might actively, though, have parts of the animal included in the pet food that we would not normally think of as parts of the animal that you might eat. You might, depending on your culture. I don't know. So if I have a beef dog food, now when I say beef, comes to mind, your beef ribs, your steak, your hamburgers, all of the delicious human consumables for beef. And if I say on my pet food that beef, real beef, is an ingredient, well, let me list off some parts. How about eyeballs, liver, spleen, the lungs, maybe the fascia. I'm trying to think of other disgusting things. The sinus cavities, the mucus from the sinus cavities, the esophagus. That's all beef. It all came from a real cow. So, just saying. Yeah, some people eat tongue. It's a delicacy in some cultures. I tried it. I did. How proud of you are you of me? I did try tongue. I couldn't do it, guys. I couldn't do it. I got it to like, I chewed it and then I got it to like, right at the, and I went, nope. And my body just went, if you swallow this, you're going to be not a happy person. And I said, okay, I agree with you. I tried it, but honestly, I think it was more of a mental thing because it was a very flavorful meat. And if I had not known it was tongue, I probably would have gobbled it up on a cracker. But because I knew that it might be tasting me as well, I had a really hard time with that. That I have now something in my mouth that I am tasting and it is tasting. And I don't know, I had a mind. You ever have one of those things where your brain just clicks and goes, nope? And I really think that that's what happened. If I hadn't known, I would have gobbled it up. So meat meal does not have the water added, Jennifer or Marissa. We've removed the water from the meat meal. So this meat meal is rendered. It's non-human consumables. So you might be eating stuff that you may not necessarily think of. And then we got some of this. Now I'm gonna probably ruin some foods for you guys right now. And I'm not even gonna apologize for that. Cause I can't. And I honestly, guys, it's for me, it's a big texture thing as well. It's a very big orally tactile. There's a lot of food I just can't eat because of the texture. And you could still kind of feel the bumps of the taste buds, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Phew. Now I'm thinking about it. Okay, stop. All right. Hey, let's talk about meat byproducts. Again, not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Not the greatest thing on the planet. Because let's look and see. I know you guys can read, but for doing this for dramatic effect, okay? So just give me a break. This is non-rendered. So what does non-rendered mean? Non-rendered means we don't separate out the non-human consumables into their individual categories. So rendered means I have my fats over here, and I have my meats over here, and I have my bone over here, and I separate it all out. Non-rendered means I take all of the non-human consumables, everything that's left over, and I just put it in a great big vat. I just put it in a big pot. I put the eyeball, and I put the lips, and I put the fat, and I put it all into a big pot, and I just boil and burble it together until I get this weird congealed new form. That's non-rendered. And so that's where I find it a little interesting and amusing that some of our pet food companies, they know that people have heard the term rendered because you have your rendering plants, right? We may have heard of that you send your livestock to the rendering plant. Well, the rendering plant is non-human consumables separated out. But they also know that most humans don't know what the word render means. They do. And so we will see on our pet food bags where they are toting that there's no rendered product in this food, which means it is non-rendered. Well, would you rather to have your non-human consumables separated out into your proteins, your fats, and added like that, or do you just want them all put into one big vat and boiled down into like a beef custard? Non-rendered is the beef custard. All right, so what is included in this meat byproduct? All right, so I love this because they really do, don't they? Such a government agency, such a government agency. They cover all their bases. It includes, but is not limited to, which means could be more than this. However, we're going to add lungs, spleen, kidneys, the brain, the livers, the blood. Now, again, this is blood that you would normally find in the tissues. It's not like I can add a bucket of blood to the byproduct, okay? It's just the blood that would normally be found in the tissues. I'm going to go ahead and add the bone, the fatty tissue, the stomach, and the intestines, freed of their contents. How well do you think the rendering or non-rendering plants are cleaning out the stomachs and the intestines? So what am I not allowed? Let's just figure out, what am I not allowed to add? I can't add any hair, huzzah. No horns, no teeth, no hooves. That's it. Everything else is fair game. Everything else is fair game. And Brittany, you've just made a mention of one of my all-time favorite meals. I have two favorite meals, both made of byproducts. Those would be hot dogs. I love hot dogs. Hot dogs and a great cheddar cheese. Oh my God. And fried bologna sandwiches. Fried toasted bologna sandwiches are a Canadian staple with yellow mustard. You're not allowed to hold a Canadian passport if you do not love fried bologna toasted sandwiches with yellow mustard. And guess what they're made of? Byproducts. So I get it. I know it. I'm eating eyeballs and lips. But let me give you a little tip. There's a couple of different byproducts you can purchase. Now, the one difference is that the byproducts that we are eating are human consumable byproducts. It does not mean you're not eating all of this, but it is the leftover human consumables. There are some byproducts, though, that just say meat byproduct, and these could be from various species. And then I have the beef byproduct. Now, it's just me personally, guys. I prefer the beef bologna and the beef hot dog because in my mind, I may not know what part of the cow that I'm eating, but at least I know I'm eating part of a cow. Okay, with meat byproduct, it could be a variety of species. So at least I know what species, I may not know what part, but at least I know what species. All right, so here I want to talk to you about these chicken byproduct. Now this is chicken byproduct meal, which means no water. So this is going to be the clean parts of the slaughtered chicken. And what are we including in this? Neck, feet, underdeveloped eggs, and intestines, exclusive. Oh, wait a minute. Let me back up for a second before I move to exclusive of feathers. Intestines. I want you to look hard and clear at that word and tell me what is missing.
Whether if it's small or large intestines.
That's a great guess.
It doesn't say
Their
clean
contents
and
have
free of
been
contents.
removed and cleared.
It does not say what, freed of their contents. Now, exclusive of feathers, and I love that they have an except. as might be unavoidable in good processing practices. So I can't add any feathers, but if there's a couple that get in with the mix, that's fine. And in fact, from what I've heard, there is I've personally never eaten there. A chicken place called, I think it's called, is it Timmy Chan? Is that what it's called? And apparently, I don't know where they get their chicken from, but it's very, very common to get a piece with a feather on it. And it is, in fact, so common, and I'd never eaten there, so I don't know, just because I don't have one near me. But that it's like a game that if you buy a bucket of chicken, it's so common, the person that gets the feather, it's like the good luck piece of chicken. I don't know if that's true. I've just heard that from other students. Yeah. Heck yeah, Marissa. All reproductive organs. All of it. Yes. Yes. Now you're starting to pick up what I'm laying down. And oh no, Chicken McNuggets.
Those are bad.
Bam, is chicken byproduct. So, still delicious. Every now and then, probably 2-3 times a year, I get a hankering for me some Chicken McNuggets. In fact, I had them just on Saturday, Sunday. I had them on, I know it might have been Sunday, because we did all cabinet sanding on Saturday and we did all painting on Sunday. And then Monday, I was absolutely crippled. I could barely move. So, yeah. So Marissa is saying, yeah, glad she's plant-based now. But you know what? Just don't think about it, okay? Just because I might be eating chicken lips, it's okay. They're delicious. I love chicken nuggets. I do. Every now and then. Not all the time, just every now and then. I love bologna. I love bologna. Again, if you've never had a fried toasted bologna sandwich with yellow mustard, you have no idea what you are missing. And I do love boudin, but I like the fried boudin. I don't like the intestine case. Well, it's still intestinal casings, but I like it fried, breaded and fried. Oh my God, I will eat fried boudin all day long.
I would eat it with the intestines and everything. Chew on it.
I don't care for the one that looked like a hot dog. I got some of that and I didn't care for it. I like it. I like the boudin balls that are breaded and deep fried. Oh my God, they're absolutely fabulous. If you don't think about what's in them. Just saying. All right, so byproduct is not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Is it the cheapest cuts you can get? Yes. Hardcore, yes. Are you still getting your protein, your fat, your carbs? Yes, you are. So just because it is a byproduct does not necessarily mean that it is horrible. So the remaining animal cuts are processed together. And again, I generally will look for the byproducts that come from a single species versus this. This one is just meat. And you can see here, it could be chicken, it could be pork. You don't know. You don't know if you're eating the lips of a chicken or the lips of a cow, or not a cow. Pork is not cow. Pork is a pig. So the fillers are going to be the things like your corn, beet pulp, the things that are going to cause you to feel full quicker. So those are going to be the fillers. So the beef bologna, at least I know I'm eating cow lips. Maybe lips and eyeballs, but I know what species it's from. And delicious. Just gonna say it. I don't even care. I don't even care.
I can't even eat bologna no more. My mama like freaking, that's all we ate growing up, bologna, noodles, and freaking Vienna sausages. So I'm like over all that. So,
Okay, but you need to prepare it properly. Were you just having like cold bologna on white bread?
Sometimes she felt fancy and put it on the skillet, but
Okay, yeah. So what you need to do is here, you got it. Here, guys, seriously, I got to give you something. All right, Mona, was that you talking just now? Okay. Here's what you have to do, my dearest. I'm not a big spam, again, because of the texture. So here's what you do. A little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Okay? A little bit of either.
Getting fancy.
Oh my
Olive
God,
oil.
no, it's a Constitution. Little bit of olive oil. Okay? Little bit of basil and a little bit of garlic salt. Just a little bit, just a little, like just a little. Like just fry it up. And then you need to put it on a piece of toast. So get your toast, but make sure the toast is hot out of the toaster when you put the bologna on it. A little bit of yellow mustard. Telling you, I will change your life. Little sriracha.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely,
Mine's
Ariel.
is so basic. Ours is so basic. We just put butter on the pan, boil, slap it on there, slice a little line in the middle so sometimes it won't pop up. And then, get you some mayonnaise. And that was it.
No,
I
give
used to eat
this
mine with
one.
mayonnaise and pickles.
Mine was literally just bread, mayo, bologna, mayo, bread. That was it.
You know that no mayo. You need to have, it's really, and if you have it, use more of a spicy brown mustard, like a Grey Poupon.
I think that's maybe what I was missing. You used all those fancy.
I was gonna say
but just
all the French thing.
bologna sandwich.
Yeah, but you don't need, like, stay away from the Miracle Whip. Miracle Whip and bologna is a travesty. It's awful. Little bit of yellow mustard, it'll change your life. I promise you. Try it.
We used to get the thick bologna that you'd peel the red.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, and that's the best one to fry. Although if you're gonna fry just the Oscar Myers like bologna I just showed you, do it too thick. Okay, so you get 2 pieces, put a little bit of olive oil and then fry them and then put them together with a little bit of basil, a little bit of thyme in, and then fry them again on top of each other. So.
Only time I just ate mustard is if I was at the carnival and I get a turkey leg, like boom, I eat mustard on my turkey
Little bit
leg.
of yellow mustard on your bologna. I swear to God, it'll change your life. Change your life.
Thank you for this gourmet bologna.
You are very welcome. There's your gourmet bologna brain break. Okay. Some other things. So now we've talked about the definition set forth by AAFCO as far as meat meal, and meat byproducts. Some other things that we do have to add. We have an ingredient called a humectant. That's how we say that word, humectant. Humectant is a type of preservatives. All right, just because a food says that it is preservative-free does not mean it does not have preservatives. But how can they put preservative-free? But they are referring to our artificial preservatives. We still have to have a humectant because even dry food, remember, has like 12% water. And it's going to have mold and bacteria and fungi. I need something to inhibit that. Because, and I don't have my package because I just ran out of food today. I have to go and get some food because my dogs had enough for breakfast but don't have enough for dinner. Because boy, oh boy, do we go through food when I got 3 dogs here instead of just the 2. Holy smokes. All right, so, but you buy, I usually buy what, the little 5-pound bag, right? The little Beneful bag. And you want the last cup of food to be as fresh as the first. You don't want it to be all overgrown with mold and fungi. So we do have natural humectants. They're usually fat-based humectants because remember, fat is going to repel water. So just because a food says it is preservative-free does not mean it does not have preservatives. It is going to have some form of humectant whether it is artificial or natural, but it does have to have something to inhibit the mold. All right, let's get into this, shall we? I'm trying to decide how I want to do this. All right. AAFCO has set some ground rules, as we know. And one of the ground rules they have set is, what are we allowed to call our food? Believe it or not, what the food is called is going to give you more information about the amount of protein in the diet than anywhere else on the package. The name of the food. What? We have 4 percentage rules that have been put forth by AAFCO. And so basically what they have said is, this rule, if you call your food blank, this is the amount of protein that you have to have included in that food. And if you call your food blank, this is the amount of protein that you have to add to the food, etc., etc. So simply by looking at the name of the food and seeing what terminology the company has used, that will tell you, in general, the amount of animal protein in the food. There is a method to the madness. So, I want to do this a little bit different. All right. Rather than just going through slide by slide by slide, I'm going to explain first, then we'll go through slide by slide by slide. So, number one thing to know is that pet food companies, you know what, I don't even need to share with it right now. I need to just see you, because this is where we start getting angry. Pet food companies, number one, it's important to note, are not required to put the type of protein that they include on the food in on the package. Okay, they are not required to tell me, is this beef, is this chicken, is this pork, is this fish. They're not required to. The rules only apply for if they do decide to list the protein on the front of the package as a selling point. So if my pet food here at Huff and Puff Awesome Dog Food Corporation, we just sell Huff and Puff dog food. We don't include the name of the protein on the front of the package. Therefore, I don't have to adhere to these rules. But if I'm going to include the name of the protein, I have to adhere to the rule, because each rule indicates a different percent of protein in the food. Does that make sense to everyone? All right. The other thing is that my pet foods might contain more than one protein. Right? We've all seen it where it has chicken and turkey, beef and pork. These proteins, these multiple proteins, can have their collective percentages combined to follow a rule. I'll explain what I mean about that here in just a second. The big thing would be, though, when I am listing and labeling my proteins, I have to order them on the label in order by percentage. So, for example, if I have a chicken and turkey dinner for dogs, chicken, because I've listed it before turkey, it's listed first, there would have to be a higher percentage of chicken than turkey. Okay, if I had a lower percentage of turkey and I listed it first, I will have lied. Okay, because the rule will be, and the rules cannot be broken here. If I can choose to follow the rules, I don't have to. Remember, I don't have to put the protein on my food. But if I choose to, following the rules is non-negotiable. So if I decide I want to put chicken and turkey dinner for dogs, I have to list the protein that is in a higher percentage. However, if I want to combine the two proteins to meet a percentage rule, that's okay. I'm allowed to do that. Let's say, for example, one of the percentage rules we're going to talk about is called the 25% rule. And so I can add the chicken and I can add the turkey. And as long as the two of them combine together to make 25%, then I have followed the rule. Does that make sense to everybody so far? All right, so let's go ahead and talk about these 4 rules and what percentages they pertain to. Get this. All right. So the first type of food is known as the 95% rule. 95% of this food must be the named protein. We don't see this commercially available, okay, because for why? It's too much protein. It's too much protein. We just talked about this show Alone and this guy who's been eating nothing but protein. We talked about the Atkins diet where people ate nothing but protein. We know that protein contains, actually, erase. Protein contains about 16% nitrogen. So if I'm eating a crap ton of protein, I'm also taking in a crap ton of nitrogen. Who filters out the nitrogen? My kidneys. So now I'm putting undue stress on my kidneys. They're going to shut down. If I try and feed a 95% dog food to Maisie and Poppy, they'll be dead within 2 weeks. I'm not exaggerating. So this 95% rule, erase. This 95% rule are going to be specialized diets for our hardworking dogs, our sprinting dogs, our Iditarod dogs. These are the dogs that are breaking down muscle at an alarming rate because of whatever their activity level is. So these are going to be very specialized. They are not available traditionally, commercially, because I cannot run the risk here at Huff and Puff Awesome Dog Food Corporation of you, the consumer, buying this food, not knowing, and feeding it to your Maisie and your Poppy and killing them. So that's where this is a specialized diet. But how do I know? These are going to have very simple names. Very simple. So beef, dog food. Tuna, cat food. So the tuna cat food, though, 95% rule we do see commercially. Because why? Obligate carnivore. Cats can deal with 95% protein. Their kidneys can handle the nitrogen. Dog food, however, not so much. So we're going to have a very, very simple name. Beef dog food. 95% rule. The next rule is the one that the majority of our pet foods are going to fall under. And this rule is technically called the 25% rule. But what this rule technically says is that it must have 25%, but no more than 94%. Why no more than 94%?
Because if you go up to 95%, now you have to have it the 95% rule.
Boo, boo, boo. Bam. I am not allowed to follow two rules at the same time. Right? I can't have two separate titles for my food. So this food, this rule does state it has to have 25%, but no more than 94%. Now, this is where it gives us a bit of wiggle room, and we'll talk about this here in a second. So, how do I know 25% rule? These are going to have what's called a qualifying term. I think I spelled that wrong. Qualifying term. What exactly is a qualifying term? Well, qualifying just means that it's telling us which rule it follows. This qualifying term are going to be terms like, let's think of some: dinner, formula, nuggets, entree, etc. So if here I now have a food that is meeting the 25% rule, this would be beef, I'm just choosing one, dinner for dogs. This is the qualifying term that tells me it is adhering to the 25% rule. Remember last week when we started creating our list? You guys started getting a little upset, a little upsetty set. Erase, erase, erase. I don't know why I have to say that. It's an OCD with me thing now. Whenever I'm erasing, I have to say it 3 times. Remember we had our vat. Here's our dog food in our vat. And this vat, this is where this rule is kind of going to play to our advantage. So this dog food, right? This dog food here has been formulated to meet the life stage needs of growth. This dog food contains 26% chicken. This dog food contains 27% turkey. Everybody with me? It is the range of the percentage of this particular rule that allows me to use this food for so many alternative diets. So we now start using our knowledge of, let me just do this. So what did I say? 26 chicken. What did I say? 27% turkey. That's good enough. All right. So if I, and it was, remember, puppy food. It's growth. Oops. Growth, puppy. So if I state that this is turkey and chicken dinner for dogs, did anything in this statement start a lie? Now remember, why did I list turkey first?
It's higher percentage you have.
Now, my question is, so I am following which rule? The 25% rule. But remember the range. It was 25 to 94. If I add 26 and 27 together, because I've combined the two, do I go over 94?
No.
So did I stay within the rule?
Yes. So
Okay.
far.
So far. Okay. 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 about now?
Nope, wrong. You're lying to me.
Why did I lie to you?
Because if you're labeling it turkey dinner for dogs, you should have 95% pro turkey in.
No, I'm still, oops, still following. Oh, come on. Draw. I'm still
Oh,
following.
yeah, because you have turkey dinner for dogs. Yes.
Now, if I had turkey dog food,
That's
that
the
would be the
95%.
95%.
That's what I got.
This
mixed
still
up.
has a
Okay.
qualifying term. Did I lie to you?
You didn't put anything about chicken.
Do I have to?
It's not a lie.
No.
No. As long as I follow the rule. Did I follow the rule?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Am I perfectly well within my rights to put turkey dinner for dogs?
Yes.
Yes. But where would I have to list chicken?
On the ingredients?
And the
Bam,
ingredients.
bam, bam. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. How about oops, not for dogs. How about now?
You still haven't lied, so you can say that.
Yeah, I didn't
No.
lie. Because do I have it minimum 25%? Yup.
Yep.
And this is where last week we ended up with an entire list. Remember? We had turkey and chicken dinner for puppies, chicken dinner for puppies, turkey dinner for puppies, turkey and chicken dinner for adults, turkey dinner for adults, chicken dinner for adults. We went on to like all life stages. We had pregnancy. We had specialized breed food. Oh my God. We had all natural food. We had super duper, holy crap, that's premium diet. Where did all of that food come from? Right here. We didn't lie. We didn't lie. That's the only thing is if we did not lie. But, and so this is where we really need to educate our owners. Because let me see, okay, so let me erase. So let's say I have a dog who is allergic to beef, one of the most common proteins that dogs get allergic to. And so what do? I go to the store, I go to the grocery, and I get him a, oops, I can't spell today. Chicken protein food. So I now know what rule does this food follow.
25%.
How did you know that?
Says entree.
Because of the word entree. Could it be possible for this food to actually contain more beef than chicken?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it could. If I had, for example, this food contain 25% chicken and let's say 28% beef, but I only called it chicken entree for dogs, did I lie?
No.
I did not.
So basically, they can pick like one or the other.
Yes, as long as it fulfills the rule. Now, let me,
But they
if
do have to list it on the ingredients.
they
right?
do have to list it on the ingredients. But here, let me give you an example. Let's say I have 15% chicken and 10% beef.
You don't have the 25% on
So
there.
this here would now be a lie.
Right.
I would have to have both. Now, what I could do is have
Change the name to chicken and beef.
chicken and beef so that the two of them combined meet the 25% rule. But it also goes to show that even though the protein is not listed on the front of the package, does not mean it does not contain that protein. So if you are looking for beef-free food and you just go and get them chicken, you may have in fact bought a food that has more beef than chicken in it. Super, yeah, as long as I don't go over 94%, Leslie, I'm fine. I'm still within the 25% rule, and I just use one of those qualifying terms. Dinner, entree, nugget, formula, all of those are qualifying terms.
And if somebody buys that for their dog that's allergic to beef, they technically can't get in trouble because it's in the ingredient.
In the ingredients list, it's not my fault that you didn't read it. Right? Starting to get a little angry out there, I see. Okay, I'm not done. That's only rule number 2. So let me, hang on, I gotta mute you guys. I'm hearing myself. All right. So let's just up here in the corner, remember what we have. We have the 95% rule, which would be beef, dog food. Then we move down to what we can call the 25% rule, which technically is anything less than 94%. And this has our qualifying term, beef dinner for, I just keep using dinner. With the addition of that one word, we sure have changed the amount of protein from 95 to potentially 25%. Now, I know that sounds pretty significant. However, the majority of our companion animals are going to be just fine with this 25%, especially our dogs. And cats, although cats, as I said, are probably the only companion animal you're going to see the 95% rule with. But Puppy and Maisie are going to do just great with this 25% rule. Any more than that, really, you start getting the nitrogen issues. All right, so, but we got 2 more rules to go over. 2 more rules to go over. The next rule is known 3%. And this rule is also known as the with rule. So what this means is if I use the word with, 3% of the food has to be that named protein. That's 3, not 30, 3%. The way that this rule really did come about was kind of our pet food corporations having some shenanigans. We had our pet food bag, and out here in the corner, we'd have a starburst, and this starburst would say, you know, now with chicken, or now with beef.
It's normally now with bacon.
Now with bacon. And it was supposed to be an additive, you know, like this could be a beef, whatever. And then this was just an afterthought. This was a little additive to catch the eye of the consumer. But the government agencies were like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're putting, no. You're putting the name of a protein on the front of this package, but you're not following the rules. Okay, you didn't give it a qualifying term. It doesn't meet the 95% rule. So we need to come up with a new rule. So they said, if you're going to use it in this manner and use it as an additive with the word with, you have to add 3% of that ingredient. Pet food companies said, yes, I agree. And here's why they were so quick to do that. Is because nothing in the verbiage said it had to be an additive. There was nothing in the verbiage that said it had to come in the form of a little starburst on top of something else. How much beef is in this food? 3%.
3%.
I'm going to show you. So I've been showing you this terribly expired food. This was used before June of 19. So I'm definitely not feeding this to my dog, but it's a nice example and it's easy for me to hold up to my computer. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
There's
What's
only
it?
3% real chicken, tomatoes, carrots, and rice.
Yes. Now the other thing, you've just made a great point for me.
Is that
These
total?
rules, this 95-25 now 3% rule only apply to the protein. So just because I've listed tomatoes and carrots and wild rice, none of that is included in the protein percentages. Okay, I don't have any percentages rules for anything that is not protein. All of these rules are only for the named protein. So this food is with not only chicken, but oh my God, guys, real chicken. Like real. Like it's not rubber. It's not fake chicken, it's real chicken. And they use the word real because it's psychological. When I think of real chicken, I'm thinking of thighs and breasts and KFC. I'm not thinking about eyeballs and beaks and underdeveloped legs and chicken necks. Guess what part of the chicken is most likely in this food? Did it all come from a real chicken? Yep.
Yes.
Of course it did. So this, having the word with, makes it follow. Now we have gone from 95 with the addition of the word with. We've gone from 95 to 25 to 3%. That's a significant drop. That is significant.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if there's only like 3% beef, so what is the rest made out of?
Filler.
Just fillers?
Fillers.
Is that why my dogs like whatever I was eating, like not really good food, their poop was like, they was just crap. Terrible.
Yeah. So this has got corn, tomatoes, carrots, artificial natural flavors, and it's canned food. So it's like 74% water. But only 3% of the ingredients is by weight is protein. Yeah. All right. We got one more rule to go over. And this is the rule that's going to really kind of, I think, glitch it for you. So this is the fourth and final rule. And this is the rule known as the flavor rule. How much protein must be included in the food if it's adhering to the flavor rule?
Nothing.
One.
0.
Oh, never mind.
0%.
It has to be a detectable amount. It has to be a detectable amount. Well, how can that be? How can I have a dog food with no animal-based protein in it? Here's how I can. Dogs are omnivores, which means that they are theoretically able to get the amino acids and the nutrients that they need from plant-based materials. Is it optimal? No. Is it possible? Yes. Where am I never going to see a flavor food?
Cats?
Yeah, I can't have it because it would no longer be complete and balanced. Cats have to have the animal-based protein. I'm never going to have a tuna flavored cat food. There has to be some animal-based protein in a cat food. But dogs, absolutely, I can have a flavored food. And in fact, here's what makes me laugh. Some of the most expensive foods on the market right now. Most expensive per serving. Flavor, 0% protein. Canned, up to 78% water. But then they use the verbiage that allows them to kick that up to 84%. So you have 0 animal-based protein, 84% water, most expensive food on the market right now. Yeah. So let's add this to our list here. 0. So if we look at this from the point of view as our consumer, we have not changed the verbiage that much. We have beef dog food, beef dinner for dogs, dog food with beef, and beef flavored dog food. Yet with just the slight adjustment of these words, we have taken our food from 95 to 0% animal-based protein. What do you guys think about this?
So, so if it's saying beef flavored dog food, there is no beef flavored taste to it. So, like, does it still have like the beef protein in it, or?
So it has to have a detectable amount. Let me give you a quick example of something that I think you guys will be able to wrap your brains around as far as flavor. You guys are all poor college students. I was a poor college student once. And you guys all live on this one product where you can buy like 30 of them for $1. Casey, you just hit it. Ramen noodles.
Ramen.
And you have what? Chicken flavored ramen and beef flavored ramen and shrimp. You have the flavor packet to your ramen. Okay, but my question to you is there really any chicken in your chicken flavored ramen?
Nope.
No. There's a detectable amount. And detectable is one of those words that is up for interpretation. And anything that is up to interpretation is best for the side of the company, not the side of the consumer. So yeah, beef flavored ramen. I hate to tell you this, Leslie, beef flavored ramen noodles don't actually contain any beef. I'm sorry for you to just be like,
I get it, but it's a hint of chicken, but there is no chicken.
but Leslie, they are delicious. Are you kidding me? I love ramen noodles. I'm just saying this is something that you can equate to beef flavored dog food. Start thinking about that in the same guidelines as beef flavored ramen noodles.
Oh, to kind of help with it too, you guys, I'm allergic to shrimp, but I eat shrimp flavored ramen all the time, and I'm totally okay. So there you go.
Well, and that's because I'm going to blow your minds.